It was supposed to be a perfect Sunday at the community pool, the kind of day where the sun feels like a warm hug and the water sparkles just right. My wife, Lila, and our kids, Noah and Maya, were splashing around, laughing like they didn't have a care in the world. We'd only been in the water for about 20 minutes when I saw Helen Baxter, the HOA president, striding toward us like she was on a mission. Her face was set, her eyes narrowed, and she was clutching something in her hand. Before I could even blink, she was at the pool's edge, pointing a spray bottle straight at my kids. "Hey, what are you?" I started, but the words caught in my throat as Helen began spraying a thick, white mist all over Noah and Maya. Lila let out a scream that cut through the air, sharp and panicked. As the kids started crying, their little faces scrunched up in confusion and fear. "You're getting too dark," Helen snapped, her voice dripping with disdain. "It's not the look we want around here." She kept spraying, even as Lila scrambled to pull the kids out of the water, her hands shaking. "I'm doing you a favor. Crest VYEW Heights has standards." I was out of the pool in a heartbeat, my blood boiling. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I roared, grabbing a towel to wipe the sunscreen from Noah's eyes as he sobbed, clinging to me. Maya was coughing, her tiny shoulders trembling. Around us, the pool went dead silent. Families who'd been chatting and laughing just moments ago stared, their mouths open, as if they couldn't believe what they'd just seen. Helen, though, didn't flinch. She stood there, smug as ever, and said, "Community standards. As HOA president, it's my job to keep this neighborhood looking appropriate." She waved a hand toward my family, like we were some kind of blemish on her perfect little world. We'd only been in Crest VYEW Heights for 3 months, drawn in by the manicured lawns, the pristine community spaces, and what we thought would be a welcoming place to raise our kids. The realtor had mentioned the HOA, sure, but she made it sound like they just cared about grass height and Christmas lights. What she didn't tell us was that Helen Baxter ran this place like her own personal fiefdom. From the moment we moved in, she made it clear we didn't fit her VY shown of the ideal neighbor. It started with a welcome packet, 47 pages of rules, hand-delivered with a fake smile and a snide remark about how some people need help fitting in. Within weeks, the violation notices started piling up. Our trash cans were out too long after pickup. Our mailbox was apparently 3 shades off the approved color. The kids' bikes, left on our own lawn overnight, were a VY Sewell nuisance. And Lila's flower pots? Too culturally VY brand for Helen's taste, requiring special approval. At first, we tried to brush it off. Every neighborhood has a busybody, right? But Helen's obsession only grew. She'd show up at the pool with a clipboard, timing how long we stayed. She complained about the foreign smell of our spices when we grilled burgers at the community barbecue. She even questioned whether our music playing old top 40 hits was suitable for the neighborhood VYB. We filed complaints with the HOA board, but it was useless. 2 board members were Helen's cronies, and the rest were too scared to cross her. A neighbor whispered to us that the family in our house before us had fled after 6 months of her harassment. The tension had been simmering for weeks, but I never dreamed it would boil over like this with Helen physically attacking my kids. There we were, my kids sobbing, Lila trembling with rage, and Helen standing there, clutching her spray bottle like she just handed us a gift. "This is assault," I said, my voice low but shaking with fury. "You sprayed chemicals on my children without permission." Helen rolled her eyes, like I was being dramatic. "It's just sunscreen," she scoffed. "I was helping. Your family's getting too dark, and it's making some residents uncomfortable. This isn't that kind of neighborhood." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Even the folks who'd put up with Helen's nonsense before looked stunned, their phones out, recording every word. "What exactly do you mean by that kind of neighborhood?" I asked, loud enough for the VY Deos to catch it. Helen, either too arrogant or too clueless to notice the cameras, doubled down. "You know what I mean," she said, her voice sharp. "Crest VYEW Heights has a certain look, a certain standard, and your family's starting to stick out in ways that don't match our values." "Values like respect?" shouted Mrs. Lee from across the pool, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "Nobody gave you permission to police anyone's skin color, Helen." Helen spun around, clearly shocked that anyone dared challenge her. "This doesn't concern you, Susan," she snapped. But then Mr. Torres, the groundskeeper who'd been quietly cleaning the pool deck, stepped forward. "Show me where the HOA rules say you can spray kids with sunscreen because of their skin," he said. "I've been here 15 years, and I've never seen anything this disgusting." Helen's face flushed crimson. "I don't have to explain myself to any of you," she shrieked, pointing at my family. "They've been breaking rules since they moved in, trying to ruin this neighborhood's character." That's when Emily Carter, our shy neighbor who barely spoke above a whisper, stepped forward, holding up her phone. "I've got the whole thing on video," she said, her voice steady. "From the second you walked up and attacked those kids. I already sent it to the neighborhood chat." For the first time, Helen's smug mask cracked. She glanced around, finally noticing the dozen phones pointed at her, the faces filled with disgust. "This is ridiculous," she stammered. "I was helping. They should be thanking me." Lila, who'd been silent until now, finally exploded. "Thanking you," she yelled, her voice raw. "For attacking our children? For humiliating them in front of everyone? For saying their skin is too dark for your precious neighborhood?" "I'm calling the police," I said, pulling out my phone. Helen's eyes widened. "Don't be absurd," she said, her voice faltering. "The police have real crimes to deal with. This is just a misunderstanding we can handle through HOA channels." "Assault isn't a misunderstanding," Mrs. Lee shot back, still recording. "And neither is your racism." As I spoke to 911, explaining what happened, Helen tried to slip away, muttering about an important meeting. But Mr. Torres and a few others blocked the gate, polite but firm, insisting she stay. The cops showed up fast. 2 officers who listened to our story, took statements from 5 witnesses, and watched the videos. Helen kept interrupting, claiming she was the VY Tim, that as HOA president, she had the right to enforce standards. Officer Daniels, calm but stern, shut her down. "Ma'am, being HOA president doesn't let you spray chemicals on kids. That's assault. And from the videos and statements, it looks like discrimination, too." Helen's face went from red to ghostly pale. "This is outrageous," she sputtered. "I'm an executive at Pinnacle Trust. I've lived here 17 years. I've kept this neighborhood's property values up." Officer Daniels didn't budge. "Turn around and put your hands behind your back," he said. "You're under arrest for assault and battery. We'll also note the discriminatory statements for possible additional charges." The pool went silent as Helen was cuffed and read her rights. As they led her away, she glared at us, hissing, "This isn't over. You have no idea who you're messing with." The fallout was swift. The videos spread like wildfire, hitting local news by nightfall. Neighbors we barely knew came to apologize, admitting they'd seen Helen's VY, but were too scared to speak up. 2 days later, an emergency HOA meeting drew a record crowd. 90 fan tram of the homeowners showed up. They voted unanimously to boot Helen from the board and presidency, then launched a full re-VYEW of HOA rules and formed a diversity committee. Helen was charged with assault, battery, and harassment with a hate crime enhancement. At her arraignment, she swore she was innocent, claiming she was just helping, and her words were misunderstood. The judge wasn't buying it, setting bail at due law $50,000. 6 weeks later, buried under a mountain of EVY Denke and witness testimonies, Helen took a plea deal, a due law $10,000 fine, 2 years probation, mandatory diversity training, 200 hours of community CRVYC, and a restraining order keeping her 100 feet from my family. When the verdict came down, Helen's perfect facade shattered. "This will ruin me," she sobbed in court. "My reputation, my career, all because I was trying to keep standards." As the bailiff led her away, she was still wailing about how unfair it was, how she was just helping us fit in. That day at the pool changed Crest VYEW Heights. It forced us to confront the ugliness hiding behind those perfect lawns and HOA rules. It wasn't just about Helen, it was about all the times people stayed silent, letting her reign unchecked. Now, the neighborhood feels different, like it's waking up. But I still think about what Noah and Maya went through, the way their laughter turned to tears in an instant. And I wonder injuries. How many other Helens are out there, hiding behind standards and smiles? What do you think? Did Helen deserve what she got? Or was she just a product of a messed up system? Should the neighbors who stayed quiet for years share the blame? And what would you have done if you were at that pool, watching it all go down? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if this story got you fired up, and subscribe for more real-life drama that'll keep you talking.